But just I think that little camaraderie is really important. And actually, I suppose that leads me on to thinking about how the world has changed and all the huge developments with online, with virtual, which is great. I would have missed all of that
Yeah.
stuff. And I can't help but wonder that unless we're very careful, people will miss that bond,
Mm.
you know. And as I say, I'm pro technology. It's great for me. Most of my team are in Plymouth. My boss is in Hamburg, as are some of my senior colleagues. At the press of a button, I'm talking to them, and I wouldn't be if I had to jump on a plane and do that. But just getting those bits around the edges, those nuances, again, those human emotions are quite difficult. I mean, I do find it funny still when I bump into people and you think, oh, you're quite a lot taller or shorter than I thought you might be, because I've only seen you
Yeah, and
in
a
that
box
box.
on the screen. Yeah.
And you sort of think, well, I've known you for 2 years. How strange, but I've just met you. So so I think, yeah, that's something that we probably ought to look at. And for me, that's as much as the leaders in businesses to try and embrace that side of things, as well as the new folks coming in.
Yeah, interesting. And all markets, and you touched on it there, all markets are changing, not just being driven by technology, but insurance particularly, and in your sector, there are a number of things happening, changes in weather patterns and weather cycles. There's been some major incidents, both, fires and, other incidents, particularly in the super yacht market.
Absolutely.
That's influencing underwriting. There is the development of lithium batteries, and more of that being used, and it's the same in the car insurance industry.
Yeah, sure.
What do you think is the sort of, out of those, the biggest challenge that the industry as a whole is facing in terms of understanding what they can insure and where their limits are, where their risk limits are?
Yeah, again, really good question and quite a broad question. What I would actually say that there's one thing you didn't mention there, which springs to mind straight away, is the political situation of the
Yeah.
world. Um, most people will be aware of what happened with the Russian interests. You've only got to be a football fan and look at what happened with Chelsea and Mr. Abramovich having to step away and all those things. Many of those Russian owned super yachts, so that had a huge impact, and that situation hasn't really changed. Unfortunately, there's unrest in some fairly key areas. If we think about commercial shipping rather than the pleasure yacht side at the moment, transits through the Gulf are still questionable. That just means our goods take longer to get here and probably cost more to get here than from the Far East and places like